Good day and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. I'm Miss Jenna Rose and I'll be your host for today. I hope everyone is doing well. I wish you all a good and pleasant day. The topic will be the safety protocols countermeasure on travel and tour amidst COVID-19 pandemic. Before we start, we would like to start with this webinar through a prayer followed by the national anthem.
Dear God, thank you for the opportunity to meet together. Please help us to come together to make this institution reflect your kingdom. Breathe life into our ideas and decisions. Help us build a team that has love and respect at its heart. Give us the strength to continue working for your kingdom in this time of pandemic. Lord, come give us the inspiration to be the best we can be. May we be a shining example of your goodness and truth within, wherever we are. Inspire our thoughts, discussions, and ideas, and continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth for the greater glory of you. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
I'd like to introduce today's speakers from Intrepid Travel. Mr. James Gregorio, a tour operator at Intrepid Travel. He is a public speaker. Mr. Eugene Bustamante, a tour operator. Mr. Troy Cada, assistant manager at Intrepid Travel.
So, good afternoon. Thank you for that warm introduction and for inviting me here to become a guest speaker today to share my knowledge and safety protocols, countermeasure in travel and tour amidst COVID-19 pandemic. Together with other tour operators, Mr. Kada and Mr. Bustamante. Alright, before I introduce to you Intrepid Travel Company, let's first discuss how to travel safely during the COVID-19 pandemic. By the way, if you have some concerns or questions, you can type them in the comment section so that we can discuss them further later. Alright? We all know how much the COVID-19 pandemic affects us, not only economically, but also in the mental and physical impact of the social isolation measures, the disruption of essential services and education, and social disorder and fear. Our way of living has started to change dramatically than we couldn't imagine and could. Many people don't have the mental capacity to stay at home each day because not all human being has the privilege to buy everything they need, and we have different situations when we are at home. That's why we love to travel, go somewhere where no one knows our names. Relax under the sun and south wind. Experience different things that the world can offer. Admiring masterpieces in the vivid green rice terraces or lying on fine white sand of Boracay are wonderful breaks from the regular grind. However, due to our current situation, we are being isolated to our fourth angle of our comfort zone, afraid to get infected by this contagious COVID-19 disease. But there's nothing to worry about that now. Why? Because some certain destinations around the world are now reopening. So, how to travel safely during the COVID-19 pandemic? First is, check your government travel advisory before you start planning a trip. Check the status of your government travel advisory and follow its advice. Keep in mind, even if the status of your destination is safe to travel, the advice may change at a very short notice, putting you and your safety at risk. Your government may have its hand tied when it comes to repatriating you and other stranded travelers. Be aware and always watch the news on 24 Horas or TV Patrol if you wanted to travel, because who knows what are the changes, safety protocols, or if it's safe to travel to that destination. What you have to do is to search for the destination you want to travel to. One of the best basis to search is that you choose your chosen destination as that safe travel stop that I will be discussing later on. And depending on when you are returning from, your government may require you to quarantine on arrival, possibly at a state-run accommodation facility and maybe at your own expense. If you have watched Kimpoy Feliciano's vlog, he underwent quarantine upon his arrival in a certain hotel in Manila. It is a 2 weeks quarantine. The first week will be in the hotel and the second week will be at your home. If you cannot run the risk at extra cost or loss of your work associated with quarantining, you should consider traveling domestically instead of overseas for now. Consider all of these factors to make a good judgment call, and of course, make sure that the destination has a low number of cases of COVID-19. Number 2 is look for destinations, hotels, and operators that are following COVID-19 safety guidelines. Tourism is vital to the economies of many countries, and they are eager to welcome visitors again. Who wouldn't, right? But they don't want to do so at the risk of creating a spike in local cases. They also know many travelers are leery of travel in the issue of COVID-19. Kaya kahit may mga low case sa isang lugar, they are still requiring the travelers to wear mask. So, one way to help ensure that your activities and accommodation are COVID-19 safety is to look for destinations or operators that are following safety programs, or ask them what protocols they are following before you book. Again, social media is a massive virtual world. You can search for anything related to what is happening nowadays. This does not mean the risk of watching COVID-19 is eliminated. There are many factors in play, some of which are beyond the control of the operator or destination, and some of which depend on the behavior of the travelers themselves. It is still your responsibility to take care of yourselves, and following the safety and health guidelines will help to reduce risk. Another thing is that search for a destination that has been recognized and approved for safety travel stamped by the World Travel and Tourism Council. So later on, we will be discussing that. Number 3. Seek out countries where COVID-19 case numbers are low. Just like what I have said earlier, be aware of the COVID-19 number of cases before you travel to a certain destination. Sobrang daming references that you can consider such as television, YouTube, social media, or Google. Some countries or regions have been relatively unscathed by the COVID-19 pandemic, at least so far. If a destination has a few cases or hasn't seen new cases in several weeks, the risk of catching the virus while there is low provided no travelers are infected with COVID-19 when they are arrived. Wherever you go, it's safe just to stick on wide open spaces and avoid crowds. Certain activities are also lower risk than others. Hiking and camping are considered quite low. Visiting a museum is moderately low. Eating at an indoor restaurant is moderately high, and going to a large music concert, bar, nightclub, amusement park, or sports stadium is high. So you better avoid those places for your safety. Number 4. Is it safe to fly during the coronavirus outbreak? According to the US-based Mayo Clinic, viruses don't tend to spread easily on aircraft because of the way the air is circulated and filtered. Airlines have also implemented more stringent and disinfecting measures, and many requires passengers to wear masks while on the flight. Some have also started performing temperature checks on passengers before boarding, and some countries now require the passengers headed to that destination present a recent negative COVID-19 test result before being allowed to board the flight. As reassuring as those measures may be, flying does not have its risk. Flying does have its risk. Social distancing is nearly impossible on a full flight, even when middle seats are kept vacant. It is very important to wear a mask and wash your hands with soap and water before and eating or drinking and after using the bathroom. Of course, once you get tested positive before your scheduled flight, you will not be able to leave a country. You have to quarantine in a certain facility until you feel better and get tested negative. Safe travel tips during COVID-19. Preventing the spread of COVID-19 is a shared responsibility. Millions of people are dependent on tourism for their livelihoods, but opening their doors puts them and their fellow citizens at risk. So, if a country welcomes you, the decent thing to do is to comply with its requirements, not present it with a new outbreak. Wear a mask on your flight and wherever requested at your destination. If there are fewer restrictions at your destination, you should strongly consider wearing a mask in public anyway. Studies have shown that masks help prevent the spread of COVID-19, and the more of us who wear them, the better. According to WebMD, N95 masks are the most protective mask, followed by a 3-ply surgical mask, then a fabric mask. Some new variants of the virus are thought to be more contagious than the original strain. For added protection, experts recommend wearing 2 masks, a disposable surgical mask topped by a cloth mask. Kaya kung lalabas kayo para may bilin o may puntahan, consider this. Wash your hands thoroughly and regularly, and avoid touching your face, lalo na kapag nasa public place kayo. Kasi I notice people touching their faces, which I think too risky knowing they are outside. While washing with soap and water is the most effective way to avoid getting sick, so I highly recommend you to wash your hands instead of just sanitizing it with alcohol or hand sanitizer once you get home, or better yet, to carry a hand sanitizer for situations where washing hands may not be possible. Use a sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol content and apply it after using the bathroom, before eating or drinking, and after touching any surfaces that other members of the public may have touched. Practice social distancing. Maintain a distance of 6 feet or more from people outside your household other than your immediate travel companions. As a traveler, you should comply with all local regulations and know what are those before you travel. If a destination has a mandatory quarantine for arrivals who test positive, don't turn around and get on a plane home, potentially infecting hundreds more fellow travelers. If a destination has a mandatory quarantine for all arrivals, don't assume a negative test exempts you from that requirement. Non-compliance could mean a fine or even jail time. Mika Salamanca, for example, she is a vlogger, singer who violated safety protocols in Hawaii and was arrested for breaking a simple protocol. So, sa totoo lang, mas madaling sumunod kaysa magkasakit. Don't assume that because a place has opened up, there is no longer any risk. Some places may have opened due to political and economic pressures rather than because it has limited the virus. If you have any symptoms of COVID-19 or think you may have been exposed, please do not travel. Period. Because you are exposing others to risk too. If you've been fully vaccinated against COVID-19, that's great. However, if you still need to wear a mask and practice social distance, then do it. It's not yet known whether getting the vaccine prevents those who have been vaccinated from spreading the virus to others, even if they don't get sick themselves. So, be a role model to others because it is somehow contagious. Seeing a person walking in the street that has mask on, they will probably feel ashamed for themselves that they are not wearing anything protective equipment to prevent the spread of the virus. This is what I was talking about earlier that you can consider if you want to travel. Of course, the Philippines is one of them. The Philippines in September 2020 was named as the 100th country to receive that stamp after being assessed as having in place health and safety guidelines that are aligned with the WTTC's core requirements. And actually, there are now a total of 40 recipients of the Safe Travel Stamp here in the Philippines. Those are Aruga by Rockwell, Grand Hyatt Manila, Joy Nostalgia Hotels and Suites, Solar Resort, the Peninsula Manila, Cordillera Administrative Region, sa Baguio Country Club, the Forest Lodge at Camp John Hay, the Manor at Camp John Hay, at other Club Paradise sa El Nido Resorts such as Apulit Island Resort, Lajan Island Resort, Minilik Loc Island Resort, Pangulasian Island Resort Total, Covu, and marami pang iba. Sorry, I have forgotten to tell you that what Safe Stamp is. I'm sorry, my bad. Anyway, the World Travel and Tourism Council Safe Travel Stamp is the world's first ever global safety and hygiene stamp. It is a specially designed stamp that will allow travelers to recognize governments and businesses worldwide that have adopted health and hygiene international standards protocols so consumers can experience safe travels. This stamp aims to reveal the confidence among travelers to enjoy safe travels with the easing of restrictions and also to have the tourism industry to recover from its great loss. At syempre, Intrepid Travel has been recognized recipients from the World Travel and Tourism Council too.
Good afternoon everyone. I'm Troy Cada and I'm here to present the 4 pillars of WTTC safety protocols. First is the operational and staff preparedness. As tour operators restart their operations, they should ensure they can optimize operational quality and delivery and have trained staff to prepare and execute on the operational plans. Tour operators may achieve operational readiness for reopening by having first obtained the applicable reopening license if required by local government. Second is develop a COVID-19 prevention plan including an action or checklist for infection prevention and a special cleaning and disinfection plan. Last is reflected physical distance in office layout and limiting the number of staff in common back of house areas. Second is the delivering a safe experience. As tour operators work to deliver a safe experience for their staff and their guests through enhanced cleanliness and hygiene best practices, they should have worked with suppliers to understand what additional measures have been introduced, implemented, or confirmed with supplier processes focused on enhanced sanitation, disinfection, and deep cleaning practices for coaches and other vehicles used as well as increase their cleaning or disinfection frequency. There is implemented customer processes including guest information and minimizing physical contact. Established with partners and suppliers including shops, showrooms, tasting venue or shops, museums, shows, theater, concert halls, factories, and farm, that they follow like-minded health, sanitation, disinfection, and hygiene protocols aligned with local regulation. Last is established that partner restaurants follow like-minded health, sanitation, disinfection, and hygiene, and food safety protocols to protect guests. This is the third pillar of WTTC protocols. rebuilding trust and confidence, provided their staff with the tools and information necessary regarding infection control, physical contact, sharing food and utensils, appropriate attire, and enhanced hygiene measures. The use of masks and gloves recommended by local health authorities protocols or as per required by the tour operator's procedures when these go beyond local requirements. All trainees should be informed by the latest advice from public health authorities and or with WHO, also known as the World Health Organization. Regular monitoring of well-being of team members by leadership, encouraging them to follow government and World Health Organization guidelines. Last is requested that key stakeholders such as partner venues, hotels, and transport partners have trained their staff on the basis of like-minded protocols to enable consistent approach across sector. So this is the last pillar of the WTTC safety protocols. Implementing enabling policies. As tour operators work to recover, it is essential that enabling policies are implemented at the governmental level. Tour operators call on governments to work collaboratively with industry as new rules for cross-border travel are developed and announce them in advance. Second is provide financial relief to the sector through grants and the reduction of taxes, fees, and charges to stimulate demand in recovery. Third is create incentives and provide direct support to boost travel and tourism. Fourth is enhance destination promotion to boost demand both domestically and internationally. Last is considered visa facilitation and visa waiver for travel. So that will be the end of my slide. Thank you for listening.
Intrepid Travel is the largest small group adventure travel company in the world. Tours offered under the brands Intrepid Travel, Peregrine Adventures, and Urban Adventures. Intrepid Travel was founded by two friends, Darrell and Mac, who believed travel could benefit travelers and the communities they visit. This has grown into the world's largest adventure travel company. The year was 1988. While most of the world wasted their time dreaming of hoverboard, mounted lasers, joining wild pyramid scams, and listening to Milli Vanilli, two mates from Marlborough spurned these distractions and instead turned their youthful entrepreneurial breeds toward the leading they love the most, travel. Today, Intrepid runs more than 1,000 itineraries across the globe and employs more than 1,500 staff and leaders. Intrepid is still adding to our list of itineraries across Europe, Asia, Africa, North and South Africa, the Middle East, Australia, and both the Arctic and Antarctica. We have always been committed to being there for our travelers and the communities we visit as a responsible company. So you can be assured that when you ride with us, we will be there for more than just your first adventure. We will be there for the entire journey. We continue to guarantee that our journeys are safe for everyone as you prefer to get back on the road. This applies to our passengers, representatives, and crew as well as the people we meet along the way. The World Health Organization guidelines and the World Travel and Tourism Council's healthy travel protocols for tour operators guide our health and safety policies. As you look to get back on the road, we continue to ensure our trips are safe for everyone. That include our travelers, our leaders and crew, and the people we visit along the way. Our health and safety policies follow recommendations from the World Health Organization and the World Travel and Tourism Council's safe travel protocols for tour operators. Our itineraries will be subjected to a thorough risk assessment and audit before we resume trips to any destination, and leaders and suppliers will receive COVID-19 health and safety training.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Eugene J. Bustamante, and I'm here to give everything you know before you travel. Number 1. Flexible booking provide peace of mind. Flexible payment flexible deposit, no change fee, pay securely, external accreditation, reserve your place. Number 2. Our enhanced health screening procedure. Travelers are required to produce either first, proof of COVID-19 vaccine, second, proof of negative COVID test conduct no more than 72 hours before day 1 of your trip, and third, proof of recovery documentation. 3. Trip cancellation. If you were booking a trip that we have had to cancel due to the pandemic, you will be automatic receive a 110% credit voucher with no expiration date. This includes additional flight or insurance as they will have their own booking conditions. Travel alert. Some reason for this risks are laxity of law and regulation is some countries' government transports, accommodation, and infrastructure. Industry in general, with compared to what we hold us back home. The potentially violated politically government of country which we operate. The nature of interest that we run, which adventurous in nature and often travel to remote location. Credit redemptions. There are 3 ways to redeem your credit. First, online. Browser for your next trip online had redeem your credit on step 3 of booking process. Second, over the phone or live chat. Talk to one of our travel specialists who will be able to assist you with rebooking your dream adventure. Third, speak to your travel agent. If you're originally booking a trip to a travel agent, they will be the best person to assist you. For urgent inquiries, please call us 0915 466 769 or connect with us via intrepidtravel.com/en. Thank you.
How much does COVID-19 cost?
The cost of a test varies depending on your location and the type of test you take. For more details, contact your local medical practitioner, COVID-19 test provider, or government health department.
At our expenses po ba?
Yes, your COVID-19 test is at your own expense.
Ano naman po yung consider proof or a verified result of our negative COVID-19 test?
We will consider all COVID-19 tests that have been approved for use in the country where the test was conducted by the relevant national authority. At the pre-trip conference, you must present a verifiable test result. It's either paper or digital. This may be in the form of a test result, a medical certificate, a travel certificate, or fit to fly certificate. If you can show evidence of complete vaccination, you will have to show proof of negative test taken no more than 72 hours before your trip's first day. If you intend to arrive in a country or destination a few days before your trip with us begins, you will need to take a separate test on the spot. This includes any pre-tour lodging you might have reserved with Intrepid. Our destination Of course, experts can be able to assist you in obtaining a test locally in your destination if you notify us in advance.
How will you manage physical distancing during the trip?
This is a really a good question though. We adhere to all local rules on physical separation and group sizes at all times while on the ride. As a general rule, Intrepid can keep a distance of 1.5 meter or 5 feet between itself and others. We can adjust itineraries if required to escape congestion by visiting attractions or traveling outside of peak hours. We fully realize that keeping physical distance between groups members at all times while on a trip will be challenging and empirical.
What happens if there is a suspected or confirmed case of COVID-19 on my trip?
If you or anyone else or on your journey has COVID-19 symptoms while traveling with us, we will help you get to a doctor as soon as possible. If a COVID-19 test is needed, if self-isolation or quarantine is necessary, or if there is a danger to other travelers in the community, we will follow that advice of local health authorities. We will help you to contact your family and friends if needed, as well as supports with translation services at hospitals or medical centers, and in contacting insurance companies, travel agents, and airlines to make arrangement to return home if required. Please keep in mind that while we will work with you, ensure you receive any of this assistance and care you need. Any costs associated with testing, treatment, or self-isolation must be covered by you and your travel insurance. So please make sure you have access to funds while traveling in case of this or other emergencies. However, travel insurance providers' policies vary. Please check with your individual for more information if COVID-19 is covered or not.
Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure being with you all today. We have come to the end of our webinar. I would like to thank everyone who made this meeting possible. And I thank all our speakers for their presentation and sharing their ideas and experience in this webinar. Thank you for thank you all for listening. We hope to see you again next time. Thank you so much. Have a good day.